Good evening and welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. I guess it's actually night time now. We're past evening. It is 7:30 p.m. over here on the West Coast. It is 10:30 p.m. over there on the East Coast where Miss Anika is at out there in Florida. Is it hot out there
It
or is it
feels
actually
nice.
cold?
Yeah. So last week we had a couple of cold days, but it feels nice. But it's gonna get back to colder this weekend. So yeah,
Do you like the cold or you prefer it hot?
I like the cold. The cold you can at least put sweaters on and get underneath the covers. There's no escaping hot. It's like you can't. There's not enough
You can only
fans.
take so much off. You
You
can be
can't
there
put it.
still sweating.
Yeah, it's gross. No, I don't like it like that.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. All right. Well, as we are every Tuesday night, we're here for the Cookout Podcast. If you're new to the Workhorse Wrestling Network YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, hit that bell, be notified every time we put something up or we're about to go live. If you're with us on Twitch, we appreciate you over there. Give us a follow over there. Wherever you're at, chime in the chat. Let us know what you want to talk about as far as wrestling goes, anything you want to know, or even not wrestling oriented. If it's something else, just go ahead and chime in, and we're happy to address whatever you want to talk about. So, normally CM is here. Normally she does clown of the week, but I wonder if Anika has one. I actually have one. I very rarely do I have one, but I wonder if Anika has one. So, Miss Anika, you got a clown of the week?
I don't. So at RFCM, we'll just get fill out the way. Always honorary clown of the week, but then go ahead, rock out.
Yep. So Phil is always the honorary. Although it's a little weird to say it this week because I did just see that Larry died. Larry, his
Yeah.
dog, died. So, I mean,
You're
don't get me
still a
wrong. I
clown.
never feel really any sympathy for CM Punk, but if there was ever a week to kind of maybe give them a break from Clown of the Week, maybe it's the week that Larry passed away. But it is what it is.
It
Um,
is what it is.
so
But we still so
condolences on
happy.
Larry's passing. We still don't like you, CM Punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
That word.
so my clown of the week is not really wrestling related, but it is sports related, and it's actually combat sports related. I haven't done my due diligence to know who the parent company is for Paramount, but Paramount Plus gets my clown of the week for signing a $7.7 billion deal to bring UFC onto their streaming platform. UFC and Dana White is just a terrible company. Dana White's a horrible person. UFC is a terrible company, and just that you've decided to merge with them. I mean, not that I ever thought that Paramount was a decent organization or anything like that. And again, I have no idea who their parent company is. It's probably Comcast or Disney or something like that, I'm sure, since they own everything. But yeah, but I guess for UFC fans, it's kind of a good thing because now you will get the pay per views at whatever rate it is that you pay for your Paramount Plus subscription if you have one. So I guess if there's any but at the same time, I just can't believe that anyone's getting into bed with UFC. I mean, I guess it does. It probably makes money from a. I mean, it probably makes sense from a standpoint for Paramount, I suppose. But $7.7 billion for 7 years for UFC, that feels like a lot of money. I didn't realize UFC made that much money every year. But
Where's up? Uh, or yeah, thinking USC is worth that. No.
yeah, so Paramount Plus, just because I think working with UFC is stupid because Dana White's a terrible person and UFC is all
Well, you
great
know what?
company slash organization. They get the
It,
fighters come in and out, and I like the fighters. I just like the rest, just like I like the wrestlers, but I just don't like the company. So I just, yeah,
understood. But you know what? In that same vein, I do have another clown of the freaking week. And so my clown of the week is freaking Black Friday. I listen, y'all know y'all can do better. Y'all know that I've seen y'all do better, but y'all are not giving us the Black Friday deals of old. This is just a poke behind way of saying a sales deal. But when it used to be Black Friday, it used to be 70% off, 65% off. Not the same freaking sale you had 2 weeks ago where you're like, I'm dumb and I don't like the freaking product y'all making. And then freaking Peacock. No offense, screw y'all. because for some reason y'all real life think that y'all worth 10.99 and no and then I sorry okay full disclosure so Bel Air is back right that's the only reason why I have Peacock because you don't have freaking WE anymore so that's the only reason why so I'm thinking okay y'all are humble 7.99 will give me the Bel Air but no it won't so what the freaking 7.99 get me what the freaking 79 what the 7.99 get me if I can't watch Bel Air? Tomorrow, oh, you got to
You
upgrade.
can't
So
even watch it with commercials.
I can't even watch it with Jack Squat. It is not
That's
available.
ridiculous.
They're talking about so they got to upgrade, but they don't give. But there's no refunds. What do you mean there's no refunds? So
Oh,
you got
what?
17. So you got $17 out of me? Oh, screw y'all. Y'all are clowning the weeks. Please remember. Please, best believe that after Bel Air is over, I am not renewing Jack Squad. There is nothing on their freaking subscription that is worth 17 freaking dollars.
Yeah, no doubt,
So
no doubt, no
screw
doubt, no doubt.
y'all. Y'all are
All
clowning the week on
right.
me. Okay.
Now that we both stood on our soapbox and preached at the listeners for a minute, we can get into what we're actually here to do. Talk a little professional wrestling. Miss Anika came up with our, I guess, topic for the evening. So I'll let her tell you guys what we intend to talk about.
So
So,
it's just you and me. We'll just pontificate this a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so as you know, a lot of people are retiring next year, the end of this year. The big three are, of course, John Cena. Last date will be December 13th. Tanahashi, did I say it right? Yes, he's actually going to have his retirement match in January of next year. And AJ Styles said 2026 will be his last year of wrestling.
No,
Uh,
really. Okay.
yeah,
I did not hear
it
that
was
statement. I was kind of half expecting to hear that at any time, but I hadn't formally heard it yet. So,
so yeah, this was I want to say 2 months ago in the premium live event, and he was at the post show or pre show, and he was like, "Listen, guys, I know I would love to wrestle with the Fountain of Youth, but I am old, so officially 2026 will be my last year of wrestling." And like, dang, a lot of people are retiring, and this is this is Ric Flair's fault because before Ric Flair, correct me if I'm wrong, there was never a retirement match. You have a big match, and then all of a sudden you just left. But because of Ric Flair and maybe Shawn Michaels, everyone wants the written go home story. Now, granted, Ric Flair couldn't stick to it, but nonetheless, in my book, your retirement and last official match was the 2008 at WrestleMania in Orlando, Florida. I don't know what the fuck you did afterwards. You was retired. That is just my opinion. That was the best. That was the best match ever. And you should have just stopped. But nonetheless, everyone is trying to have that. I won't say great, but at least a good retirement story. At least a good retirement match. And then this morning, I heard that Tanahashi in New Japan was throwing out ideas for his last match, and it was actually Shinsuke Nakamura was a name that came up, and that even more so came up. It was actually on the rails of actually happening, or it's like last year or this earlier this year. If you notice you haven't seen Nakamura in a long time, it was because it was in the works for him to go back to New Japan to face Tanahashi, and somehow, some way, please go Wrestle Talk to get the official story. If I'm not screwing it up, um, Jeff Cobbs was actually involved in the whole deal where they got where WWE got Jeff Cobbs early for Nakamura to get out of contract to face Tanahashi, but
mhm.
evidently, something happened, which is code for WWE, and it's not happening anymore. And that really sucked. I listen. I know companies, conglomerations, control, all that good stuff. But when it comes to someone's final match, I would love for everyone to have a little leeway. It's like, come on, this is one match. This Tanahashi's super old. I say super old. It's like his career is 25 plus. Like, just this is gonna sound so dumb. Be a good person. Let him have his match the way he wants. Let him have his last match the way he wants to, man. Like, and on that same note, John Cena, I don't know if he had any ideas or any plots about his last opponent for his retirement, but I wanted to open the gates of if we did not have companies, if we had Starcade for one more good year, and everybody could get their dream go home match or dream angle, like what would happen? What would we pitch for people's go home angles? As of right now, like I said, Tanahashi, John Cena, um, AJ Styles, and I just put in the Young Bucks because they're like our time is coming up too. They didn't give an official we're retiring, but they did put it out there. We're just like, boo, shut up. But since you said it, let's just book them as well. Like if we could pick the perfect retirement angle, what would that be like? Um, First things first, let's go with Cena because as of right now, for me personally, he gave WE a full year, and match wise, I've been entertained. I'll say that I've been entertained, but when it comes to the last match, I don't know. This so the thought is going to be Gunther, and that's cool, but I'm a story girl. I'm a story girl, and I would rather have it to be someone that he has a great rival of his past. So if like again, if we could tear down the walls of wrestling companies and just have let someone have their final match the way they want to, who would be a perfect opponent for John Cena's last opponent?
Uh,
Crazy,
man, but
yeah. No, I'll just say so. I'll open it like this. Question to you: What do you prefer? Do you prefer? I know the wrestling trope is give it to a young guy. Give it. Let's put over a young guy. But I'm a story girl. I would rather be your biggest rival. Which one would you prefer? Them facing a young guy, giving them a rub, or them facing your biggest rival?
I think it really kind of depends on a case by case basis, honestly. I mean, I think the
Mm,
different guys are in different situations and at different points in their careers at times of retirement. Um, and are different. I love AJ Styles, and I think AJ Styles, for me, um, AJ Styles on both favorites at this point list and you know, um, just wrestling wise, like best wrestler list, he's higher for me than Cena on either list at this moment in time.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the reality is that probably mainstream wise, Cena probably has a little bit more, maybe notoriety a little bit more. So maybe he gets a little bit more pull in the room when it comes time for these kinds of things. I don't think AJ's the kind. There's some things about Cena that are very interesting because for me, I think Cena's the kind of guy that will really would do either. Like he would happily wrestle Edge one more time if that was his
hmm
final match, and
yeah,
or he's happy to put over a Gunther or an Austin Theory because Cena, wants the business to thrive. Like I can see that in him. He's like at the same time. We also know that in the past he's had some issues with necessarily letting guys go over or wanting to take a loss and not be whatever and that he does see himself in a certain way. So, that's a tough question when it comes to Cena. I think it's one of those things where I think he could do it either way. For me, I mean, I don't with no boundaries, no nothing. Everyone can do whatever they want. You're setting up your dream match for John Cena. I mean. I just don't know. I mean, he's had some big time rivals, but I just it feels like Edge is the one that it has to be, right? To a certain extent. I just
Yeah.
even though I don't really want at this point to see a 50-year-old John Cena versus a 50-year-old Edge, like that doesn't really interest me. It just feels like who else could it realistically be? I mean, it could be a bunch of other people, but like in theory, like if you're into the story, if you're into that, I mean, that's his biggest rival in my opinion. I
It
don't think
is.
it's close to a certain extent. There are other guys that you could definitely put in there and it would be exciting and all those things, but really it should be Edge. And I bet if you ask both of them, they'd probably say each other. So as far as maybe they wouldn't, maybe Edge would say Christian or whoever. I don't know what Edge thinks about John Cena. Maybe Cena wouldn't even say that, but it seems to me that maybe if you asked them who their biggest rival was, who you might want to have a final match with if you're going to only have one, it wouldn't surprise me if either of them said each other. That being said, for the sake of the business, I think it makes sense to have a younger guy probably go over, but it's got to be the right younger guy. And when I say younger, Gunther's not
Mhm.
even young. Like, it's got to be the
Yeah.
right younger person. Like, he's young in WWE years because he's only been around on our mainstream TV for what, 5, 10 years now? Not even 10, 5 years now,
Which is
maybe 6 years now.
crazy. Yeah.
So, but he's not young. So, I mean, it's not like you're passing the baton to a guy that's going to be here for another 20 years, right? So,
Right.
and even Austin Theory or, some of the younger guys aren't even that young anymore. I mean, who are we talking about? Carmelo Hayes, Austin Theory. Those guys have already put some years on each other. They're getting in their 30s. They're in their early 30s now. So you think about, I mean, like so I mean, there isn't necessarily. I mean, I'm not paying a huge attention to WWE other than reading, here and there and seeing the news. I don't watch it, so but it doesn't feel like there's a young guy that's really set at this moment in time to feel like okay, he's going to go out and beat John Cena and be the next face of WWE for the next 20 years. There just doesn't feel like that at the moment. So, I mean, if you don't really have the right person to pass the torch to, or you don't, you're not sure who that's going to be, you might as well bring in the person's biggest rival and try and do one last spectacular match. I mean, they both probably have one more. Well, Cena doesn't, but Edge probably has one more decent match in him. So do one more and call it good. Listen. Again, not all things are like each other, right? The reality is whether you think of Ric Flair as a good person or not, whatever you think of Ric Flair in terms of wrestling goes, he's at the top of the legend status. Like, unfortunately, Ric Flair is going to get more than everyone else gets. I mean, if no one else, there are plenty that do, but if no one else deserves a farewell, it's Ric Flair, right? Like, I mean, this to
Yeah.
a certain extent, and I understand you can say whatever you want about Terry from Tampa, who was WrestleMania and put WWE on the mainstream. Ric Flair is the man, right? Like, I mean, he is. To a certain extent, right? And so, like, I feel like if he wants that, then he gets that. And there are others that they can say, "I want that." Well, you don't get that because you don't you don't rate like that. And no offense,
No
but you
offense.
just don't rate like that. I'm sorry, and that's not. And I'm not saying that's AJ Styles or John Cena or Tanahashi. I think those guys probably do rate like that. At least AJ Styles and Tanahashi do. The only reason I'm saying John Cena might not is just because the more that I he was already limited in the ring when he was in his prime. Now he's extremely limited in his older age. AJ Styles, when you still watch him, and I haven't watched him in a while, so it's
Mhm.
a fair, and he hasn't been around a whole lot. He still can do a lot of what he used to be able to do. Tanahashi, that's a whole different situation. He's hung around a little too long, but he can still even get up and go when he really needs to in a way that John Cena can't seem to, never really could, and definitely can't now. So if you're asking me which one of those three I'd want to see in a final match, it probably would be AJ Styles first, and then Tanahashi, and then John Cena whoever it's against, right? Like John Cena, I don't care at this point. And the fact that they've turned it into this big long spectacle. I mean, it was like, okay, we knew how many Raws you had left coming. We knew how many SmackDowns you had left coming. And it's like you had four different slogans in this last year run, and it's like, come on, man, like, like, could we be a little bit, put a little bit more on it, a little more extra, like, I mean, you can
Yeah.
have these kinds of things. Even Ric Flair didn't do that much. much. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, it wasn't like, come on, man. Like, this is a John Cena farewell tour, and it's like we don't need for everybody. And I don't even think John Cena deserves it, honestly, at this point. So,
Dang.
no, I mean, again, I think it's a case by case basis. To bring it back to your original question, should they pass the torch to a young person or should it be their greatest rival? I think it really depends on the situation. If you have the right situation, um, if we're talking about, um, there are guys in New Japan that are the right people. I think that are probably the right guys. There are a couple right guys that you can pass the torch to if you're Tanahashi. Um,
Mm-hmm.
their AJ Styles, again, WWE, it's kind of the same issue you have with John Cena. Like, there really isn't anybody there, it feels like to me. Maybe you can tell me something different that is really to take on that kind of AJ Styles torch or, feel like he can pass the torch. Um, and yeah, so I mean, for me personally, I'd love to see if AJ's only going to do one more year. I'd like to see him leave WWE and do it with another company, whether that's AEW, whether it's New Japan, whether it's a GCW on the independent, whatever you want to do. I just like to see it out of WWE and just see him in a different environment for the last little bit of his career. Because I don't think in WWE there really isn't anybody that I want to see him in a last match with. I mean, not that's on the active roster at the moment. I mean, everyone that I would want to see him in a last match with is on the AEW roster probably. So you know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, or
So
they're already retired or that kind of thing. So God, that's such a tough question. I mean, again, case by case basis, but I don't. As a general rule, I think for the business of wrestling, it makes more sense to be passing the torch, to have a younger guy go over and have it appear like this is the new face of the company. And, we're moving on to this, as opposed to feeling like it's two guys from, 25 years ago. I mean, that's how I still feel when I watch these guys to a certain extent. It's like, and as much as I enjoyed, watching them because they're the guys I grew up watching, you can see that they're old. You know what I mean? You can see that the wear and tear is wearing on them, and they're not the same guys. Samoa Joe is world champion, and I absolutely love Samoa Joe, but he's not in the peak of his career anymore. Like, he's still extremely talented, but he's not Joe of 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? He's just
yeah.
not. So, and there are guys, i.e., the Kyle Fletchers, the Will Ospreys, the MJFs that are still younger that are in their prime and starting to hit their prime, and those guys probably need to be handed the torch to a certain extent. So, and I'm not saying Joe should retire, but he would be next kind of in that line. He's been around for a really long
Mm-hmm.
time, putting in work for a long time. And, if you're not going to overstay your welcome, i.e., a Ric Flair, you know what I'm saying? And you're going to take offense to this, and a lot of other people might take offense to this, because he only came for a drink of water. It was still too long. Sting, if you want to overstay for a little bit,
Yeah.
then, you could do that. But, no, I mean, I tend to think that you're better off getting in and, getting out where you still feel like you have some semblance of a decent life physically, and that you've done what you can do, and that you've lost a step to a certain extent. You can see it, and it's time to probably hang up the boots. I mean, I think that it feels like, I mean, that age used to feel younger to me. Like, it used to feel like 35 was like 35, 38 was like around the age. Now it feels like 50. I mean, if you're a solid superstar, and depending on the wear and tear you've had and how long you've been doing it, 50 is a price. Something between 45 and 50 is where you should probably start thinking about wrapping it up, I would think. I mean, but again, these guys have all earned the right to a certain extent to do what they want to do, right? I mean, they're all superstars. They all should have the opportunity to kind of do what they want to do, and in their careers, they want to end it. If someone's willing to give them that, if a Triple H and WWE is willing to give John Cena, this last run spectacle deal, and Tony Khan's willing to let whatever happen, or New Japan's willing to let Tanahashi do whatever. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess you take advantage of it. I mean, it's probably your last opportunity, and these guys are going to miss it when it's gone, right? I mean, it's all they've been doing for a long time, right? A lot of these guys, and you hear it from professional athletes a lot, like when they're done doing stuff, like, what else can I do? I mean, really, what do professional wrestlers do when they're done wrestling, right? They go into
Teach.
booking or backstage
Yeah.
production or announcing, or they're dead, I
Damn.
So, but you know what I'm saying though, right? I mean, like, it's not like there's, a lot of ex-professional wrestlers going into a lot of other trades and careers at the end of their career, right? Some do.
Yeah.
You have the Canes that become politicians. You have some guys that go on. Uh, Steve Sting is, a real estate agent on the side. He's been selling real estate for a long time. So I mean, there are guys
Vince
that do other
McMahon.
stuff, but as a general rule, it's like
Yeah.
not a whole lot of transferable skills per se, other than maybe talking, right, and selling yourself. So yeah, I
So
mean, I don't, let them work
no,
as long as they can, as long as someone's going to give them a check, let them work, and yeah.
yeah, no. So I do agree with you about Cena, where it is like preferably, I do think that Edge would be his last match. Some people tossed in Braun Breaker as a young guy to put him over. I would love that, but I do agree with you that Cena does not have a lot of move sets. So him versus Braun Breaker, even though Breaker is great, I don't think that would be a good match for them together. Or it's just like you're asking who to take the lead in that match. And it's just like, I don't trust neither of you. No offense. I know Cena's the veteran, but I don't trust neither of you to do a good solid 10 minutes. But like you said, AJ Styles is a very curious case because he is the most agile out of everyone I said that's about to retire. To toss my lungs. I feel it in my bones that until when he officially retired, like not wrestling at all, I do think he's gonna hit AEW. That's just in my bones. Like it feels like he is not. I know he's been WE for a long time, which is crazy. Like going on 10 years, which is very much so insane. But it feels I still equate him to Indy. I still equate him to TNA, honestly. So I do think that him going to AEW is still a possibility. So I will give you this question: which one would you prefer more? AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe for his final match, or AJ Styles versus Will Ospreay?
Oh my God. Again, man, I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, listen,
Put someone over
Osprey.
your greatest rival.
Yeah, I mean, Osprey is, amazing, and I absolutely why I can't even imagine what a match with him and AJ Styles would be like.
Because
So
he
in
been
that
calling
regard,
him
like,
out. I don't know.
I mean,
AJ's been told him he used a style clash. So I'm like, he been calling you out, AJ. So I want you to answer the call one good time. But yeah, which one would be more tasty?
but there was something so tasty about Danielson and Nigel, even though like Nigel could only move like at half speed, it felt like, and it was rough to a certain extent. And sometimes there was still something so great about watching it. And Joe is not Nigel, right? Joe is in a much
Yeah,
better place physically at this point, just because he's been wrestling and been active, and he's still, in
consistently.
his
Yeah.
wrestling world, whatever. He's on the downside of his career, but he's still active and all those things. So man, that's a really tough question. Holy smokes! Can we see them both? Can we have a three way? Like, I mean, can we get a triple threat? Like, man, I don't. Those are all dream matches. I flip a coin, honestly. Like at this point, I'd happily take either. I mean, again, from a business standpoint, it feels like it makes. Well, here's the thing. The thing is that it's a little bit different. Again, here we are on the case by case basis. AJ Styles doesn't like it would be him just coming to AEW for just like that match. So for him to, it doesn't. There's no sense of him passing the torch to Will Ospreay because he hasn't been an AEW guy. So it's not like I'm passing you the AEW torch. I guess it could be the wrestling torch. It could be the
Yeah.
technical wrestling torch. It could be the
High
high
flyer.
flyer torch. Whatever, I mean, to a certain extent. But it's not. Wouldn't be the AEW torch or anything, right? So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of meat on that bone. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, man, that would be fun at this point. I mean, if we get that one more time, like I'm all in on that. I'm all in on both of those. Man, I can't answer that question. What about you? Where are you leaning? I want to hear your input, and then maybe it'll change my input. One way, my feeling on it.
um. No, I'm in the same boat, and I thought you was gonna help me out. He is like I said, I'm still watching WE, and right now AJ Styles is still phenomenal, and him and Dragon Lee are actually a great tag team. he's still doing some of the great finishers. Like last night, it was them versus New Jay, and the finish was he hung up AJ on the first rope. Dragon Lee from the top rope drop kicked Kofi Kingston onto AJ's arms into a style clash. Yeah, that's so they still have so AJ still has those moves. But him versus Samoa Joe is bread and butter, man. Like and this is Sting's fault because before Sting, I think everybody was losing their retirement matches. And again, that's your trope of pushing someone else over. You're losing your last match, whatever. But Sting, like, yes, I actually want my favorite wrestler to win their last match. It was such a feel good moment where it's just like, once every orange moon can this happen. But I think that only happens if you face your rival. If you're facing a new guy, it has to be like you have to push the new guy over. But if you're facing your rival, it can happen. Not to say that the Young Bucks were Sting's rival, but they were old. I mean, they weren't young. Like Young Bucks were Young Bucks were very much established, where they didn't need the push from Sting, especially as a tag team. But dang it! This is my question. I can't answer it. Even from a personal standpoint of what would entertain me more.
I don't know. Like from an in the ring perspective, like I could see how Osprey and AJ would be just insane, and at the same time, it's Joe and AJ. Like I mean, and Joe
It's
still
Joe
can
and
go. Like
AJ.
that's not to take anything away from Joe. Like Joe can still go. So I mean, he's still your AEW World Champion right now. So it's like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's so we need a triple threat. Like that's a tough one. I don't know. But
This
yeah,
is
no,
my
I mean,
question.
hopefully AJ's got a couple matches. Maybe we get to see both. I mean, I don't. That'd be ideal. I mean,
Yeah.
probably not, but who knows? I mean, yeah, in a
Okay.
dream world, can
Go,
look at it as a triple threat.
gun to my head. Had to pick Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, and only because I actually love when they're trying to reenact their rival in WWE with old Wendy. I'm like, it's like, why did we not pick that up? So yeah, finish the story, gun to the head, give me AJ versus Samoa Joe, final match, book it.
Non-title. Joe's already lost the belt, or is it a title match?
It doesn't need the match. It doesn't need a title.
It
It
doesn't
does
need
not
the
need
title, but
it
does
doesn't
it
need a
have the
title.
title?
More so because again, it's more so.
Then does AJ Styles become AEW champion? And who wins in this AEW? Come on, he's been there for one match. And he's gonna become champion.
And again, this is
Could you
WWE's
imagine
fault.
the uproar? Could you imagine the uproar if he came over to AEW for one match and became champion?
But would it though? Would it be an uproar? Because again, with this is WWE's fault, where it's like if y'all would have treated him more, if y'all would have treated him better, we wouldn't be having a situation where it's just like in our eyes, yes, his last match he should be a champ and drop the belt to somebody, but y'all don't believe that, and not the tag team titles, a singles title, the freaking heavyweight champion or universal title, but y'all are WWE, so boo y'all. So from a personal standpoint of me being an AJ Styles fan, I would love for it to be the title. Yes, I want it to be for the title. Just make this like all the way make me happy.
Which is interesting because you're not big on people jumping the line. Like you're not big on people coming in and getting
I
a shot
don't
right away.
care.
Like
See, here's the
that's
thing.
not normally your.
No. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about AEW and about WWE people coming over there. Y'all have to understand they're coming from an abusive relationship. So when they get over there, when they get over to AEW, their mindset is I want to be treated better. You have to prove to me that you'll treat me better. And so you can't treat him. You can't treat them like some regular smuggler person from the Indies. I know that's not fair, but that is where their
Mm.
heart is right now. Their heart and mind is, oh, if you don't give me a push, you're just like the old 78-year-old emotional crackhead. Why did I come over here? Screw y'all, I'm going back. You have to prove to them that this is different. So you have to give them a little bit more syrup on the toast and a better push. And then when you give them a better push and prove to them that they're actually valuable, then you can let them put other people over. But you have to prove to them that it's different. You have to stroke the ego. You have to calm down the mane. That is AJ Styles. I don't think AJ Styles need to be. I think AJ Styles know who he is, so he doesn't need to be stroked. But for personally for me, I don't care. Jump that line. Skip over that line like you was doing Red Rover. I don't care.
Well, yeah, and for the sake of this conversation, you said let's talk about if there was no, barriers between anything. So if we could have anything that we want. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, there's nothing keeping AJ and Samoa Joe from not wrestling because there's no in this hypothetical. Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that if you're, you know, from a fun standpoint, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe would be extreme. Well, not that Osprey and AJ
That would
wouldn't
be
be
so
extremely
great.
fun as well. That would be fun as well. But
But for the
no, I
hardship
mean, you're
match.
probably right. I mean, there's definitely as long as the guys can still really go, there's
Mm-hmm.
there's there's still meat on the bone. Again, though, and especially if it's been time since it's happened, right? Like if we
Yes.
haven't seen the match in 5 or 10 years, then I'm much more interested than if we've seen it yesterday, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who John Cena's wrestled all together in this last little stint here, but if he's wrestled Gunther once already, I don't need to
He
see
did.
that be his final match again. But just
Yeah.
hypothetically, like I don't, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it needs to be something that stands out on its own, you know what I mean? So that I'm definitely yeah, no, it's a very tough question. Those are all hard questions, and when to retire and who should retire. I mean, as someone that's almost 50 years old, going to be 50 years old this next year. I mean, the people that I've been watching are, aging out. I mean, anyone that is my age is getting to that point. Like, they're going to start,
Ooh.
which is, why you got to be in touch with the youth too. Got to pay attention to what's going on. You
Yes.
can't just be all, I just like the old guys, right?
Yes.
Because the old guys are going to go away at some point, right? And either you stop watching, or you better pay attention to what's new, what's going on. So. And I
Mm-hmm.
love a lot of the new guys. Like I think the wrestling business, at least when I look at AEW and New Japan, some TNA stuff, some MLW stuff. Again, I'm not really watching WWE, but there are a couple guys in WWE. I think wrestling's in very good hands. I think the future of wrestling is very
Oh
bright.
yeah.
There's a lot of very good wrestlers out there. Yeah.
Right.
So,
So another debate before we officially
I
go.
have my headphones on.
We got
Yeah, yeah,
Tanahashi,
yeah.
and Tanahashi is the official match will be him versus Okada in January, which is a very tasty match. But I would like to ask your opinion if he had the option
But
and Nakamura was
bro, you're
available.
crazy,
Which one
right?
would which one
But
would you want more? Would you want Tanahashi versus
yeah,
Nakamura
if you
or
love him with
Tanahashi
your
versus
mama,
Okada?
and I mean, the reality is that I think there's you're the best brother. The biggest rival is Okada, right? I mean, Tanahashi and Okada, they are what they are. And Nakamura at one point was definitely the face of New Japan. I don't or was not the face, was like being prepared to kind of be the face before he
I
moved
agree.
to WWE, before whatever happened, all those things. He was getting set to kind of become that guy, which, for whatever reason, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be now, not at this point in his career. I mean, he's probably roughly at the same place that Tanahashi is at in his career. I mean, this
Yeah.
is one of those matches where, like, I know that Nakamura is still wrestling, but not a lot, right? I mean, Shinsuke's not doing a whole lot, right? Um, and Tanahashi, we've seen him. He's definitely shouldn't be doing a whole lot, especially not off the top rope at this point. So, I think that Okada is probably the meteor story there, but again, it's one of those things where if you've seen it like 1,000 times, do you need to see it again? Tanahashi and Okada wrestled quite a few times, so do you need to really see it again? Um, I don't know. It feels to me there's if you're going to be if the question is a rival situation, and I'm not the biggest New Japan guy, so people can say whatever they want in the chat. If you know different, anyone that knows different, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, Okada is definitely Tanahashi's biggest rival, and I don't know how many times or what Nakamura and Tanahashi have as far as storyline goes. I'm not super privy to that. I know that Nakamura's been away from New Japan for a while, or at least he's been in WWE, was in WWE for a long time. If you're talking about passing the torch, there are other guys in New Japan, the Yoda Sujis, the shooters, that are out there that are guys that are young and poised to take potentially the baton for the Takeshidas, for New Japan. That I mean, I'd love to see Takeshita versus Tanahashi, and maybe as his final match.
Ooh.
I mean, we're passing the torch type of situation. Um, but between Nakamura and Okada, there's probably, at least in my mind, and from what I know, there's more meat on the bone with Okada. And again, I haven't seen Nakamura wrestle in a while because I haven't watched WWE, but I'm watching Okada, and Okada can still go. I mean, the dude can still go, like it or not. Whether I want to say it or not, the dude
Mm-hmm.
can still go. I mean, he still gets up and down on that drop kick. I mean, it's still very impressive. I mean, the guys that are his age or other guys his age, i.e., the Tanahashis, when you watch them, you're like, yeah, they're limited. And you look at Okada, and he's still doing the bulk of what he does and has always done. So, Okada and Tanahashi's probably maybe it's a better match. I'm not sure. Again, my experience with Nakamura over the last few years has been very limited, so I'm not sure where he's at. But I know that he's not young. I know that for sure, and I know that he's on the downside of his career as well. So, you know, again kind of a toss up for me. It would be Okada just because I think that's a little funner. But
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I totally get it. And last but not least, like I said, the Young Bucks, they have no what you call it. They did not announce any retirements, they're like, hey, everyone from our generation's retiring. Who else can we face? That's a big money match before we go right off into the sunset. So that is a big question of who is their who could be their last big money match. They said Edge and Christian, and I totally, of course, like marquee of Edge and Christian versus Young Bucks is a money making match. What they do in the ring is another story. We know Christian can still go. Edge is good. Edge is good within a 15-minute time frame. You know why I want to keep letting him go over 20 minutes. Keep him within 15 minutes is a decent match. But again, let's break the boundaries. If we could do a last marquee match for the Young Bucks, I want them to go against freaking Usos. I need to see that one truly brothers versus brothers in their prime. I need to see that one good time, man. What do you think?
yeah. No, I mean that's a hard one to argue with. I mean, I was just thinking that this has to be like a multi-man ladder match, and if you want to go
Mm,
nostalgic, you got to get like, even though they're all gonna die, you got to bring in like the Hardy Boys, you got to get the
no,
Dudley Boys. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to get
yeah,
Edge and Christian, and you get them all in one of these matches. Maybe Jurassic Express to throw in a younger group. You know what I mean? Because Jurassic Express, I like them. We have the
yeah,
history with the Young Bucks and Jack Perry. Um, and I yes, I mean, I think from a ticket standpoint, you could definitely sell tickets to Edge and Christian versus the Young Bucks. I'm not sure that that's the top of my list. Honestly, as much as it's a weird thing to say, and neither of them are around at this moment. The top of my list would be the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks in some
ooh,
sort of a final match.
yeah,
or the Usos versus the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks in some sort of triple threat. Or again, I think 5 or 6 tag teams from the Young Bucks past could all come in and be in some sort of I mean, I want to see not from their past team, but I want to see the Young Bucks versus like the Hardys and versus the Dudleys. And again, I know these guys aren't what they used to be. T-Bone can't wrestle, and I know everyone's got their limitations, whatever the case may be. But just hypothetically, if you could get one more out of these guys, like it's like, but yeah, the Usos. I mean, put them in there, or I mean, I'd love to see the Usos again. All these wrestlers or guys that have been what I call what I'm going to say is trapped in WWE. There's a lot of them I'd love to see get out of WWE and wrestle some of
Mm-hmm.
these other guys that they've either never wrestled because they haven't been in WWE or whatever the case may be, or that I just don't know, but maybe somewhere in the past they did at some point. But no, I mean the Young Bucks. I'd love to see them wrestle the actual Lucha Bros. Jurassic Express versus the Usos would be a lot of fun. This FTR, not the revival from NXT, this FTR versus the Usos would be fun. You know what I'm
What?
saying? Yeah, no, I mean, I think there'd be a lot of people out there. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
for the
No,
Young Bucks. For me, I think it would have to. God, they're so good. It'd have to be some sort of multi-man match. You got to bring in several teams. I would think, like maybe a couple young teams, a couple older teams, and just have some sort of spot fest. I don't. Yeah.
I actually like that. I actually think that would be a very, very nice, tasty little send off with them. Not sure you knew or you just didn't care, but the Hardys and the Dudley Boys had their last match at TNA, and they're like
No, I didn't know
losers.
that.
Yeah, so yeah, they had their last match, and it was loser retires, and the
Against each
Dudleys,
other, just the two teams.
just those two teams. And I am
Okay.
so mad because it's like, we thought Devon couldn't wrestle, and now he could
Yeah.
wrestle. And it's just like, where's Agent Christian? Y'all just don't want to give us this last match, bro. Like I just like it's
Yeah.
really weird. We keep getting so close and yet so far away. It sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, they actually had their last match together. And
Okay.
at the end, it was so freaking emotional. If you want to see highlights on YouTube, you can. But
I'll have to
yeah,
check
that
that out.
happened.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. How
That was
long ago was that?
crazy. That was maybe 2 months ago, maybe a month
Okay.
ago. Yeah,
Okay.
it was very much so
Yeah, because
recent.
I did. Yeah, I thought Devon couldn't wrestle. I thought he was not wrestling. I thought he wasn't cleared like medically. But more power
Yep.
to him for I guess getting cleared or someone clearing him
Yeah.
or whatever he
Last
decided to do. So
like
I'll have to
like
check that out. But yeah, no, I mean, I think the Young Bucks would be honored to wrestle those guys. Like, you know what I mean? Because I mean, they're even they know who's paved the way. They're wrestling historians, and they know, you know what I mean. So even though they have a high flying style that some of those guys don't have, they know like the ladder match and all those things that the Bucks like to
mhm,
do. That's all come from those guys, right? So,
yeah.
and from their perspective, I'm sure they'd love to wrestle an Edge and Christian one time in their career. The Hardy Boys and that kind of situation one time, or whatever. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't, but yeah, those are man, lots of fun stuff. I mean, you could create like a Wrestle Dream, like you said,
Wrestle
Starcade type
Dream.
card where like, yeah, you have all what do we got? 4 people we've been talking about essentially with their final matches. You could do it in such a way like put one in like put the Bucks in some sort of ladder match with multiple teams. Put one in a one-on-one match, put the other in like a gauntlet match with like several young guys and several old guys or something. You know what I mean? Or you have to
Yeah.
wrestle your 5 greatest rivals for one guy or something like that, and or in a triple threat for another or something. Yeah, I mean, you could do all sorts of different stuff and mix it up. But man, that would be a lot of fun if WWE would get on the. I mean, it might not just be down to WWE, but they seem to me to be the holdout, right? The landlocked
Yes.
country that doesn't want to play with everybody else. So.
Mhm.
Um, since it is what it is. I really hoped that once
Mhm.
Vince was gone, that Triple H would be more amenable to that kind of stuff. And maybe it's not him. I don't know. Since they have, since they're under TKO, maybe it's TKO that doesn't want to do it. I have no idea, the board or whatever. But It just seems like I was hoping that we get a little bit more of that. And then they did some stuff with TNA, but it's like you only do stuff with TNA because you know that you can dominate TNA. Like, you know that your guys are going to get the win. You're going to go over there, win their title. You're not really going to let them do anything to shine on your brand, and you're going to have the upper hand in the whole thing. And I don't think Tony's going for that. Like, if you were going to have a real situation between WWE wrestlers and AEW wrestlers, it would have to be much more on the up and up. Like, because Tony's not just going to
Oh
let you
yeah.
come in and just step all over AEW like TNA's willing to do. So,
No,
yeah.
totally agree. This is
What about
yeah.
you? You didn't answer who you wanted Tanahashi to wrestle, Nakamura or Okada. Yeah,
Well,
you
so
let
we're
me answer, but you didn't answer.
what? So we're in the same boat. We're in the same boat of we're not like old school New Japan fans, but I did hear of Nakamura being like at least the top three faces of New Japan for a nice little decent amount of time. So, and I actually do love Okada right now. Like I love Okada right now. Yeah, I think he's doing the Lord's work as being a Chinese Ric Flair in AEW. But as of right now, just more so personally, I would love to be Nakamura just so he can have. It feels like I'm not sure if you ask Nakamura about his experience with WWE, what he would say. Like some people are like, hey, he's cruising, he actually living his life, he doesn't really want to wrestle that much. But on one hand, it's like at one point in time, he was your favorite wrestler's wrestler. So it is like, I wish you had one more run. But I do know that he actually did want this match with Tanahashi. So again, at this point in time, it's just like just let him go have the match, man. And again, selfishly, it's just like that's another thing about facing your rivals instead of facing someone new is that even if they can't both go, you can see the magic. You can see the magic in both their eyes. You can see why they loved wrestling each other or hated wrestling each.
Yeah,
Like
and the
you can tell
storyline can
why.
carry it through, right? The
Yeah,
storyline can carry the match through.
you can tell why they're each other's rivals. So with that being said, I am a story girl, and I would just like to see like that little piece. I know I could probably go online and watch an old match. I don't want to do that. I want to watch a new one. So personally, yeah, give me Tanahashi versus Nakamura just to see the look in their eyes again about like, hey, like, hey, old friend, let's one last time.
Yeah. And Young Bucks?
Young Bucks. I said Usos, but
Okay. Oh,
I
that's right.
do love,
You did say Usos. That's right. Usos
but
first. That's right. You did say that.
I
Yeah, yeah.
do love
No,
your idea of a multi-man match, a multi-man ladder match. I actually do love that. And people forget that they did have those with the Hardys in TNA, the Full Metal, TLC was copyrighted, so they called it Full Metal Mayhem. And actually,
yep.
so they actually did get to have those matches with the Dudley Boys and the Hardys, and they were actually great. That's actually the first time I met, like, I think the first time I met them. It's like, oh, they're not Asian Christian, but they did fill that void nicely. So I think that would be very nice. Like,
Yeah, I'm not
it's
enough of a wrestling historian. I definitely don't remember enough or have watched enough wrestling to remember to know enough who's all wrestled everybody in the past. So
to,
you know, take what I say sometimes with a grain of salt as far as matchups and who hasn't wrestled each other. Because just because I haven't seen it, I'll make a comment like, "Oh, I haven't seen,"
you're
but
fine.
you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean, so. But yeah, no, I mean, I can't. That'd be a solid pay per view. Any of these four matches and the way that or the people that we've come up with would be a lot of fun.
And
I'm
that'd
here
be a
for it.
unique way. I don't think anyone has ever done a multi-man last, like when you say retirement match, it's either one last opponent. But like I think a multi-man ladder match for a last match would be so interesting and great.
Right?
I would
Right?
love to see that. Yeah. That would be really fun.
So I did see one thing. This is the last thing I'm going to say for the night. I think I did see it. The rumor is, and maybe you can comment on this because I don't know. The rumor sounds like Chris Jericho might be going back to WWE, or is at least set to be in the Rumble as a surprise guest. Now, I know that John Cena and Chris Jericho have had their issues in the past. Is there a potential that John Cena and Chris Jericho could be his last match?
So, like, here's the thing, right? So, John Cena gave WWE the dates he could do for his last year, and
Okay.
we all like and going down the list, we're like, oh, maybe he'll do a surprise interview, maybe he'll do a surprise drop it. As of right now, he has done all the dates where he's
Okay.
like, these are the dates, and this is it. So I don't think that they're going to do anything extra, which is very much so
Okay.
crazy because his last his last match is December 13th, and like whoever wins between Gunther and Knight are just gonna be his opponents. Like, so we're just doing the match. No
So
promos,
his
no
last match
nothing.
is either going to be Gunther or LA Knight. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what we know right now.
yeah, that's what we know right now. But it's like, dang,
Interesting.
like no promo, no. The tournament is the build up. It's like that is insane. But
Interesting.
in me, I would, yeah. Like I said, I know we committed to this year being his last year, but it is like WrestleMania is right around. It's like it is right around the corner, and even though like Cena's the five move of doom, career rise, star power rise, it's like your last match is in Saturday night main event. Like that feels weird. That feels I don't say wrong, but it's like this should
There's
be
something
at
I feel almost, like I said before, there's kind of like these two sides of Cena, right? Where like he has kind of this very humble side, and at the
yeah
same time, you also know that behind the scenes, he's also been talked about as not necessarily always being all that humble. So like the idea that he would choose to end his career just on a December 13th on a Saturday night main event is kind of like a John Cena thing to do. Like, I don't want the spotlight, and at the same time, you've taken up the last year with the spotlight. Like, it's that whole perfect, like,
yeah
dual, like, you know what I mean? I don't want it, but I do want it. Like, I don't want it, but I do want it. Like,
right.
it's like, so no,
It's
it
very
seems
much so
perfectly.
weird.
Yeah, it is. It's very weird, but it seems fitting to me that would be kind of the end of it. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm not. I mean, I guess Gunther and LA Knight are going to be around for a while. I'm not sure. I think either of them is really going to pass the torch kind of position. I mean, I guess Gunther
Hmm.
maybe more than LA Knight, but I mean, neither of them is young. Neither of them's going to be there for 20 more years, right? I mean, like this
Yeah.
is so if you're not really passing the torch, it should be a bigger rival. Like it should, but
Hmm.
again, I mean, again, I guess we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, I can't imagine. It'll be very interesting to see if he wins or loses. I don't know.
But more so back
Yeah.
to Chris Jericho. Everything Chris
Yes.
Jericho's been doing recently has been
Yes.
feels like he's leaving. Whereas like he's talking on his podcast. Even TK talking about how, you know, we haven't I love him, but we haven't spoken in a minute. It feels like his time in AEW is up and he wants to go back. It does
What do you
kind of
think about
suck.
him in WWE again?
I don't care. Like no offense. I did not like that last little run in AEW. The learning tree was fine, but even then, if it wasn't for Brian Keith and Big Bill, I wouldn't have cared. That was more so it really is like I don't he shouldn't be wrestling. He should not be wrestling. If he like let him commit to one more match and that's it. Don't know who don't know who that last match is gonna be. But yeah, he should not. Like people are like, well, he should have a run. He should not have a run. He should have one more match and then sit his behind down. But a run, come on, no. But it would have been nice to see them in the ring one last time. That would have been nice. Yeah.
I mean, Chris Jericho is definitely one of those guys that I think is kind of unfortunately, even though when he's in the ring and you watch him, he can still do a fair amount of stuff. It feels like he's overstayed his welcome a little bit. As much as a lot of his reinventions have worked and have been great, the fact that you've had to reinvent yourself like 10 times just shows that you're a little probably past yourself. Like, You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole shtick is worn a little thin, and I've never been a Chris Jericho fan, so it's definitely worn thin for me. I mean, it wore thin for me 25 years ago. So, um, yeah, I mean, so as far as I'm concerned, I've been happy that I haven't seen Chris Jericho on AEW TV for a little while, and I don't want to. I mean, if he goes to WWE, it's fine. I'm not watching it anyhow, but I don't want to see him back in AEW anytime
Yeah.
soon. So,
It more so like
so
he did it to himself. It's like just if he would have just sat down for a couple of months and came back, it probably would have been another different vibe. But no, he just wanted to keep going for whatever reason. It's like, sir, go home. Do you not like your home? If he would just like
yeah.
came home and then came back, that would be probably a different perspective. We're talking about Chris Jericho, but like right now, you did it, and I don't care. I'm sorry, I just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you think WWE needs Chris Jericho at the moment?
They don't. They don't.
No.
As of right now, their main event scene is good. Their freaking women's scene is insane. Like I honestly don't know where they would put Chris Jericho at. Honestly, like wrestling wise, don't have a clue. But maybe like a managerial state, someone like managing another wrestler or or TV show maybe. But yeah, I don't know where they're gonna put him if that is the case.
I think his next, and whether he chooses to do it or not, I think his next best thing in wrestling is probably announcing in some way, shape, or form,
That'd be
doing
cool.
something
Yeah.
like that. I mean, he's a good talker. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the way he talks, but he's a good talker. But yeah, I mean, I find him obnoxious, but a lot of people actually very much enjoy him. So I can see, him maybe trying to be an announcer or something. That's probably a sweet spot.
He
Producer in the
he just
back, someone that puts together matches, a booker or something like that. I mean, I don't know.
yeah.
We'll have to see, but I definitely don't want to see him back in AEW. I know that. So,
No. He just
all right.
can't get to
Anything
shouting
else?
level. I guess like that.
Anything
He
else
just
you
can't get
wanted
to
to talk
shouting
about? Oh,
level.
yeah, for sure. He can't get to shouting level, which is a little much for sure.
Yes.
He'll have to learn how to tamper that down if he wants to be a full time like announcer. Speaking of full time announcer, I've been very impressed with Brian Danielson. Not that I
Love it.
didn't think I would be. I mean, is there anything he can't do well? But I mean, man, he's been great at the announce table. I very much enjoy him at the announce table.
Yeah, now that he feel like it, like when he first retired the first time, you can tell he was enjoying it because it's like watching something you love taken away from you. But now that he officially retired on his own, it was his decision. He's killing it. I love him. I love him on down people. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right. Anything else you want to say to the fine people before we give them back the rest of their what's left of their Tuesday evening or night?
Nope, I'm
All
good.
right.
I'm good.
We'll do a little housekeeping real quick. We are here as always on Tuesday night for the cookout, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, where we come together and talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. Come for the wrestling and stay for the chaos. On Friday nights, Miss Anika and sometimes Sammy Joe or sometimes somebody joins her to watch SmackDown starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. She watches the show in real time and gives you her real time review and reactions and opinions on the show. Saturday mornings, we do Winner Circle, where we review AEW Collision from the Saturday before and Dynamite from the Wednesday before, give each show a grade, and declare a winner for the week. That's every Saturday morning, bright and early, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. So make sure and join us for that. Let's see. Oh, I usually do it the other way, but we'll do it this way. If you don't have time to listen to, or if you don't have time to sit and watch the cookout, you can always catch the audio version. Dolores puts the audio version up on these podcast platforms. Thank you, Dolores. We appreciate you very much for that. So if you're out running your errands, driving around in your car, working out, whatever you want to do, you want to listen to our golden vocal cords in your ears, you can do that. You can find the look out on these podcast platforms. And if you want to come check us out on social media, You can go to any of these social media platforms and find it, or you can scan this QR code, and that will take you to Linktree. And from Linktree, you can get to all of our social media from one little place from Linktree. Or, like I said, you can go to these ones independently and find us there. So come interact with us there on these social media platforms. We love to hear from you. Love to interact with you guys. So come over, say what's up, let us know what's going on. Tell us anything you want to talk about or anything you want to say. Dolores is here right as we're about to get out of
Girl.
here for the night. What's up, Dolores? Hope all is well. That's our fearless producer. Every graphic you see, every ticker you see, Dolores put that together. So you need to go over and check out her channel. She has her own YouTube channel. This pink girl living in the pink world. She drops her link here. We'll share that on the screen and with anybody here that's watching. So go over and check her out. She plays games. She does wrestling, does crafts, all sorts of stuff. It's a channel for everyone. So she's putting in the good work over there. So let's see. As Dolores likes to say, we'll give her another second to drop that if she drops her YouTube channel in the chat before we cut out the lights. As Dolores likes to say, cut out the lights. And until next time. All right. Peace.
Bye.
Oh, wait, I hit the wrong one.
What? What?